Hey everybody, welcome back to my Project 13. Thanks for coming on by and checking out this video. Appreciate your time, your support. Wanted to talk about the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Mainly those two devices. They're the flagship smartphones from Apple that recently were just announced. And there's some new features that you're going to get with these devices. And in the Android world, well, they're not so new. But in the Apple world, they are. And we can make fun of the new iPhone 15 Pro, iPhone 15 Pro Max, as far as having these features that have been a part of Android for a very long time on many different smartphones. I mean, USB Type-C, that's not new to the Android world, but it is in the Apple world. And that's cool, man. I don't want to make fun of that. I mean, it's taken them a while, and sure, there's always that, well, when Apple announces something new, it's like, wow, are you kidding me? It's like the latest and greatest, right? And I get that. But when you look at the iPhone consumer, the Apple consumer, that is a big deal. It is. Probably, well, let me rephrase that. To a few of those consumers, it's a huge deal. To a lot of them, they probably don't even acknowledge what that really is. I mean, it's a cable, you plug it in, you get to charge your phone, right? That's what they're looking at. They're just probably looking at that USB Type-C port and the cable and going, okay, this isn't a lightning cable, but it's still going to do what I need it to do, and that is charge my phone. It's going to be able to transfer my files. It's going to fit into the Apple ecosystem. And that's really what matters at the end of the day to the majority of the Apple consumers. There are a few that will be like, man, are you kidding me? But not too many. When it comes to the Switch now being gone, that iconic Switch, which I personally wish they would have left alone, I think that's where you're going to get the majority of the iPhone crowd, your average consumer, to be a little bit more like, why? What was wrong with what we had before? But they'll get used to it, and life will move on. And it's cool that you can utilize that functionality. I mean, outside of silencing the ringer or allowing the ringer to do its thing, being able to change up with a long press on different tools that you can utilize with that area. I think that there's going to be a lot of iPhone folks out there that are going to dig that, but you're giving them more to work with. And when you think about Apple iPhone, it's about simplicity. iOS, it's a very simple software to adopt into your life, and that's why you have a lot of folks who love their iPhones. I get that. When you have an Android device, there's a lot that you can do, and most consumers don't want to do. They just want to use their phones as simple as possible. So I get it. I get that. But now they're going to have a little bit more to work with, and that is something that an iPhone user, the average consumer, is going to have to adopt into their life and hopefully enjoy. When it comes to the cameras and having that 5x zoom, I mean, they open up the camera and they take the picture, and that's it, or shoot video. Okay, you start talking about all the other areas in the camera, and a lot of them don't even know what you're talking about. Again, it's about simplicity. But there are going to be the few that will enjoy having that. Well, the 5x zoom only comes with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. For those of you that get the iPhone 15 Pro, you won't have that. video is always going to be good on an iPhone. It really is. I mean, it's a very subjective conversation, but I've had 2 or 3 different, maybe 4 iPhones during my time and having a channel, and stability, video quality, audio quality, that's all a thumbs up. So with these changes, and then there's the material of the new iPhone. You're going to have that very nice matte finish on the back, and you're going to have that titanium, the titanium rails, top, bottom, and sides, which makes the new iPhone a little bit lighter in hand. But I don't think that's going to be an area that really, again, a lot of iPhone users are going to be like, wow. They're just going to pull out their phone and they want to use it in the most simple and fastest way possible. But there are going to be the few that go, oh, sweet, yeah, I kind of feel that it's a little bit lighter. Totally digging that extra 5x zoom on my 15 Pro Max. I'm digging the fact that there's a little bit of a slimmer bezel on the OLED display. USB Type-C, cool. Honestly, I'm happy for the iPhone consumers, even though most of them aren't going to recognize what they really have, and they're still most likely going to treat the new iPhone smartphone series just like they did the previous smartphone series from Apple. They'll run into those changes and go, oh yeah, I forgot, this isn't a switch, it's a button. They'll look at their cable and go, oh yeah, I forgot, not a lightning cable, this is USB Type-C, right? Most of your iPhone users, when using the cameras, are going to just point and shoot. Now, I'm repeating what I'm saying in different ways. I get that. I try to do that because I know that there are some watching this video that may not understand some of the language, and I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, so I'll change up that language a little bit so the interpretation of what I'm talking about is at least understandable to everybody that watches this video. At the end of the day, I am really stoked for the Apple consumer. I really am. They're basically crossing the line into Android territory. Not fully, but little by little, every year, that's what's going on. You got Dynamic Island, you're able to utilize their functionality there. That's super cool. The notch is gone. Super stoked about that. It's more of a pill cutout, right? Yeah, so, I think the most boring part of the new smartphone series is the colors when it comes to the Pro Max. There wasn't a lot of thought put into that. Would have been nice to have a red iPhone 15 Pro, iPhone 15 Pro Max, maybe even an army green, something like that. I don't know, but I think there could have been a little bit more involved there to add to the excitement. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, the majority of your iPhone users aren't really going to acknowledge what is new, maybe more by accident than intentional. And again, there's going to be that little crowd that is like stoked that there are these new areas to utilize, even though it's been a part of Android for quite some time. But I welcome that. I definitely do. Why not welcome that? We can throw jokes all freaking day long, right? Or we can just enjoy this for those iPhone consumers that are getting on board with areas that's been around with Android, and acknowledge that at least Apple's doing something. But remember, at the end of the day, this isn't one of those, yes, Apple did it first. We obviously know that that's not true, even though that's the way the average consumer is going to look at it on as far as the iPhone users, because it's never been there, and now it is. One more area that I want to cover, and then I'll end the video. I've been watching some iPhone 15 smartphone series reviews from some of the top dog YouTubers out there that lean, well, and again, this is my opinion, they lean a lot over to the Apple side of things when it comes to reviewing the iPhone smartphones in comparison to when reviewing Android smartphones. And the one thing that I'm seeing is that, especially with the iPhone 15 smartphone series, there's definitely a conversation for what should have been, in my opinion, implemented not just on the iPhone 15 Pro, but even on the lower priced iPhone 15, 15 Plus. Now, I don't want to have too long of a conversation about this, but when it comes to that 5x zoom, that should have been implemented on the iPhone 15 Pro. That shouldn't have just been an iPhone 15 Pro Max feature that the camera has. It should have been for the 15 Pro as well. And again, this is just my opinion, but that's not mentioned as a negative or a letdown, let's just say, by some of these bigger YouTubers that are reviewing the newest smartphone series from Apple. Now, the 15, the 15 Plus, they obviously do not have that 5x zoom as far as the cameras. And one specific area is that 60 hertz refresh rate that both those devices have. That in 2023, they should have at least 90 hertz. But I'm going to say that 120 hertz should have been implemented on those two devices, not just the 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max. Let the Apple community know that Apple wants to take care of you when it comes to your hard-earned money. That they're just not going to settle. That they're going to do a little more, because they're not going to do a whole heck of a lot more. But for what they did, they could have done more throughout the iPhone 15 smartphone series. And that's what I'm trying to get at. And this is not being mentioned in these reviews. They're excusing by not bringing it up. Now, are they getting paid? Now, everybody's going to assume that. Are these reviewers getting paid from Apple? Paid reviews? I don't know. I couldn't say if they are or aren't. And if I don't know, it's not my place to just assume. But that's what a lot of folks out there that are going to watch these reviews are going to state in the comment section. Oh man, these guys are getting paid. They're talking about this and that, but they're not mentioning this. And they definitely mention that when it comes to Android smartphones. I've seen it. 60 hertz refresh rate in 2023 with a company like Apple on the 15 and the 15 Plus? No, man, that should be 120 hertz. Should be. iPhone 15 Pro should have that 5x zoom. Okay? And maybe there's a little more we could talk about that could be there. But again, this is not what this video is about. I just needed to get that off my chest. But again, to the Apple community, to you iPhone users, iOS, very simple software to utilize in your life day in and day out. And I get that these devices are very smooth, but still, we need to see more for what you're paying. We really, really do. But for what you got, enjoy it. It's great. It's great to see. Okay, so I guess we'll leave it at that. And I'll end this video. I appreciate you watching, hanging out, your support. Yeah, that's it. God bless you all. Peace out.